Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Zach Lesage here. You might be hearing a little bit of tinniness in my voice. I'm recovering over a little bit of a cold, cough, congestion kind of thing going on, but I'm all good. I feel great. My voice, I just can't get over this little hump, but we're getting there. That being said, we're going to be covering over Arceus Duraludon today with Umbreon VMAX. This is a deck that won the Seniors Division for NEIC, and it also came second in the Masters Division. One of the top picks for many at Worlds, so we're going to be covering over the deck list, some gameplay, and more. Stay tuned for all the awesome stuff going on in this video. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the description for all of our affiliate links. That being said, let's get it. Be sure to check out all of the sponsors of the Shuffle Squad, whether you're looking for graded cards, you're looking for singles, sealed. We have all affiliate codes with all of our great sponsors, so be sure to check them out in the description below. Thank you so much for supporting us. So here's what we have going on with our list. It's a very typical Arceus Duraludon Umbreon list, and I'll explain through how this deck works in entirety. A lot of this list is based off of what Braden Elfert was able to win 2 League Cups with this past weekend. Now, the goal of any Arceus deck is to power up with Trinity Nova, Trinity Charge, and you're either going to be powering up your Duraludon VMAX, and you're going to be using Duraludon VMAX against Pokemon that have special energies attached, so things like Lugia V-Star, maybe a Mew VMAX deck, sometimes a Mew VMAX deck. I should note that because a lot of them do play Path to the Peak. We also just want to be using this against Pokemon that you want to be doing a lot of damage against that do not have weakness to any of your other Pokemon. So in this case, we're going to be using Duraludon VMAX if we hit a Miraidon deck, if we hit a Chen-Pao deck, because 220 is a magic number to knock out most 2 prize card Pokemon. So think about HP and think about Skyscraper. The other Pokemon that we might be powering up is going to be Umbreon VMAX. Now, we don't do a lot of damage with Max Darkness, but we can do a lot of damage if they're a Gardevoir EX or if they are a Mew VMAX. There's not too many other Pokemon that are weak to Dark in this format, but those are really 2 big play decks in the format. On top of that, we have Dark Signal, so we have an ability-based Gust, which allows us to do some pretty crazy things with this deck, such as turning Adventure's Discovery into search your deck with 2 cards with Starbirth, and then gust up your opponent's Pokemon with Umbreon VMAX. There are some cool cards that we have in this deck, like Hawlucha. So we don't have a lot of damage modifiers, we only play 1 Choice Belt, but we do have Hawlucha, which allows us to use Flying Entry. It only puts it on the bench Pokemon, but with the help of Radiant Alakazam, we can move things around from our opponent's Pokemon to their other Pokemon. Maybe they're going to play some damage counters with their Dragonites. Maybe not. We'll have to see. But you can move a lot of damage counters from your opponent's Pokemon to their other Pokemon in general. There's a lot of really cool things that we can do. One of the cool cards that hasn't really been shared too much is Box of Disaster. Now, this is really what Braden's played over the past couple events. And really, we've seen Panic Mask in the spot. We've seen no cards in the spot, just extra consistency cards. I think this one's pretty cool. If they're ever going to OHKO your active, and that would be something like a Zacian, a Gardevoir, maybe a Mew VMAX, there's maybe a Tina V-Star, there's a few ways for them to knock out our active. With damage, I should note, because sometimes Tina V-Star can knock you out with just an OHKO auto knockouts. You put 8 damage counters on your attacking Pokemon, that can bring them into range of getting knocked out with Arceus V-Star, or Umbreon VMAX, or even Duraludon VMAX. Or you could move those damage counters around with Radiant Alakazam to put yourself in an advantageous position. Overall, I think this deck has a lot of cool things going for it, and I do want to show how this deck can play out. Arguably, the most well-rounded Arceus deck that we have in our formats. Might not be the best position by the time we get to Worlds, but right now it seems very, very good, and it's only going to get better if Lugia comes back to counter a lot of the Tina V-Star stuff that we've been seeing going on. That being said, we will jump into some gameplay. Let's see how it goes. So we won the coin flip. We really want to go first when it comes down to this. Hopefully that ends up working out well for us. Arc plus energy is really what we're searching for here. No basics, that's completely fine. Hopefully we're able to get Arc plus energy. That's gonna totally matter a lot. So let's shuffle back, and let's see. We had to take a mulligan. And there's Duraludon. We do get Arc plus Energy here. We have Ultra Ball plus Energy. So that's kind of nice. See what our opponent flips up. Mew, Greninja, maybe Gardevoir? Okay, sick. We actually got Nest Ball. That's fantastic. Let's go Nest Ball here. Search our deck for Arc. Probably should take a full look through of the deck. See exactly what's going on. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to attach the Luminous Energy to the Arceus V. The reason why we're attaching the Luminous Energy is because you can attach a Double Turbo and a Luminous Energy. They're just all going to count as colorless on that Pokemon. Reason why I'm not attaching the Fighting Energy so I could save the Luminous Energy for something else is because we actually want to have it into the deck if we do play Iono next turn. So let's go ahead and pass our turn here. Depending on what our opponent's playing, we might just be able to boss up and knock out like their routes, if that's what they're playing. Would be pretty telling of what they're playing in general. But you don't need a lot to get an Arc deck off the ground. And even if we lose this game, I think this is a pretty solid like way of how it gets played out. The cross switchers is interesting. This tells me that I might be playing against a Chen-Pao deck, unfortunately. Yep, Arc Chen-Pao cross switchers. Not entirely what we're looking for, but if they're getting Frigibax out, we might be able to knock out their Frigibax first before it gets set up. Seems pretty bad for them. They just honestly saved us a card from our Starbirth. Hopefully they don't get another one. No more Frigibax. Please, please, please. Our deck can be quite aggressive because we can go Ultra Ball Search your deck for a Arceus V-Star, grab a Double Turbo, Boss's orders this up, and grab another card as well. So we have a lot of cool things that we can grab. Was that to see what our opponent decides to do here? I mean, I don't think they'd be debating this hard to put down a Frigibax, to be honest. Okay, so you can see exactly that they played a cross switcher to play a boss. Very interesting play. Very interesting play. There's their other Nest Ball. Not sure why they played it out like this, to be honest. Okay, let's see what we get going on over here. We're going to have to go Ultra Ball, discarding something. I think we're going to have to discard an Umbreon, and I think we're going to have to discard an Energy. When it comes to discarding these, it's going to suck a little bit. But we'll see how exactly it plays out. Yes. I think that makes the most sense. We're going to grab Arceus V-Star. And we'll see exactly what we can grab here. We have Escape Rope, we have Switch, we have Boss in our hands. I think what we want to grab is, well, we need to get out of the active. So that's the issue, is we need to get out of the active. I don't think with them having double Frigibax that it's actually worthwhile for us to go after Frigibax, because they're only an Arceus V-Star away from getting Rare Candy Baxcalibur. That being said, we just need Switch and Double Turbo. We automatically have those with Arceus V-Stars, but it's better for us to play it with Iono, since Boss's Orders is no longer the play. Let's go for Iono and see what we get. Then we Starbirth after our supporter. Okay, so we didn't get what we were looking for, unfortunately. So let's go Starbirth here. So sometimes if we had one of those pieces in our hand, it would have been a little bit nicer, but that's okay. We're just going to go like this, Double Turbo. Yeah, we're not, it's actually so unfortunate to miss the Box of Disaster. Okay, whatever, it is what it is. We are just going to go for Trinity Nova 180. This is why the matchup's not great. Now, if they miss something, then we're in a really good spot. But I don't think our opponent missed anything. This is why if they didn't get out the double Frigivax, we could have gone Switch, Double Turbo, Boss, Knockout Frigivax. But it's not always going to work out like that. And sometimes we're just going to get destroyed. Like, Chen-Pao is not a good matchup for Arctura. And I will put that out there. If you are playing in a heavy Chen-Pao metagame, don't play Arctura. There's their Arc V-Star. So Arc V-Star will allow them to search out for Rare Candy Baxcalibur. If they don't already have all the pieces. We're playing, it's kind of like an Arc deck versus an Arc deck. It is what it is. They're still going through all their things. Maybe they're doing the correct sequencing of searching through and making sure that they have everything that they want. Then they're going to go in with the play at the very ends. Okay, Irida's going to search out for probably Rare Candy Bax. Or if they have Bax, maybe Rare Candy Chen-Pao. Cross with your Bax. Nice. So this means that our Duraludon's probably getting knocked out. Which is quite tough for us to deal with, because then we don't have a way to really OHKO our opponent's other Pokemon. Like, if they knock out our Duraludon, the game's pretty much over. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have it. Maybe they have, like, maybe their other cross switchers prize and they didn't necessarily realize that. We can all hope, right? This is a very hot Baxcalibur list. I wish that Chen-Pao Baxcalibur Arceus worked like this when I played it. But it seems like it's honestly quite a compelling list. Okay. So it's really just like waiting to see what our opponent's going to be doing at this point. I think we're in a bit of a tough, like, we're in a pickle, regardless if they knock out our Duraludon or our Arc V-Star. Those are both tough. I mean, obviously, like, them knocking out Arc V-Star, at least we got to build up things, which Umbreon might actually be okay. We'll see what our opponent's doing here. Like, they have, like, maybe they don't have the energies? I don't see a world how they don't. Maybe they forgot their energies? I'm not sure if it just, like, if PTCG Live got there. Regardless, we'll have to see how that plays out. At this point, we want to knock out the Chen-Pao. Because we assume that they can get out a Rare Candy Baxcalibur at any given point. So that being said, we are going to go Adventures Discovery here, just searching our deck for a Duraludon. We're going to grab another Umbreon, and I'm going to grab a fish to put in our hand. So even if our opponent kind of gapped out here, or like let's say they didn't get anything, this is how we'd set up in any general case. It doesn't matter what our opponent would be having. We chose the correct Pokemon, we powered up the correct Pokemon, and we braced for impact. That's typically how this deck's going to be playing out. Let's discard these two. And one thing that we can do here is start using Radiant Alakazam to move damage counters from our opponent's Pokemon to their other Pokemon. Now, maybe we shouldn't have discarded the Choice Bell for there, but we can start moving damage counters to the other things like Arceus V-Star. Maybe we could have started moving them to Frigivax as well. That could have been cool. Regardless, it doesn't really matter that much. Let's go ahead and I'm going to keep the energy in our hands. I'm going to put down another Umbreon in case they decide to knock out an Umbreon. And we'll go for Trinity Nova for the knockouts. So we do have quite a little bit of Pokemon powered up. We have ways to also use things that look pretty set up here in general. So let's draw our 2 prize cards. And if our opponent like completely has nothing, that's fine. If they're gonna play it out, it looks like they're gonna play out their turn. Maybe they just ran out of energies, honestly, because it looks like they're playing. So I'm a little confused about that. Maybe they like didn't have the other cross switcher, or maybe they just like missed their energy, or I honestly, I'm not the most positive on however they decided to play this out. There's their cross switchers up the Dura. So, I mean, yeah, it looks like our opponent maybe missed a step, maybe got a little too, whatever with their Arc V-Star, that's fine. This is not the greatest for us by any means. I do want to point that out there, is that they're knocking out a Duraludon VMAX. They do need 6 energies to knock it out, though. 5 would be 300, 6 is enough. So we'll play this out. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Wait, what? 8 energies? Interesting. This would be a great case to get Box of Disaster, by the way. We're just going to keep on playing towards that for what it's worth. So if anyone's wondering what we're doing, that's what we're looking for. So there's our Hailblade. Probably not the greatest idea to attach 9 energies in the same turn. That's what I'd recommend. Also, maybe not leaving them off the Chen Pao in the active. But that's fine. We're going to go with Arc. No, we're not going to put down another VMAX here to just, like, feed our opponent until later on in the game at the very least. Let's go Nest Ball here. I might as well just search our deck for a Spiritomb. Don't see our opponent not using this. I just want to thin our deck out a little bit. We're going to put Lost City into play. And let's use Iono here. Sweet. So here's our Box of Disaster. And that does put our opponent in a position if they do get a knockout on us. That we do knock them out. Maybe they will decide to not get a knockout on us. I'm debating like moving the damage counters from Arc, because damage counters from Arc don't actually add up to anything at this point. So I'm just going to move them here. And I'm just going to attack with Trinity Nova. Trinity Nova puts our opponent at 200. Maybe, just maybe, it's enough to make things happen. Maybe it's not. We'll see how it plays out. I think our Hawlucha here is actually prized, but it does give us a case later on, or like we could put 2 damage counters and move them around on the Chen Pao. We'll see how our opponent decides to deal with this. If they knock out our Arc V-Star, we do knock out their active. And maybe, like, I don't think that they have a boss as their other, like, whatever cards they have in their hands. And if they knock us out, we're also just going to put them down to a single card in their hand with Iono. And we're going to knock out their active. Let's see how this goes. I mean, again, we got a lucky break earlier on this game. This matchup's still not very good. Chen Pao usually beats Arc decks. I cannot stress that enough. So wondering why they're... Oh, Box of Disaster. Got it. For a second, I was thinking about the Lost City. Yikes. Yeah, with them taking care of our Box of Disaster, they're not getting knocked out. We are kind of forced up into a few things at this point. So I think we're going to go with one last game plan here. And we're going to throw everything against the wall. Our opponents already use cross switchers. Maybe they don't have another way. They've gone through a lot. So we're going to go with a different way to maybe win this game. And I'll show you exactly how this might be able to work out. Now, pretty sure we have the cards necessary. Let's go like this. We're going to Ultra Ball these two away and search our deck for the Umbreon VMAX. Since our opponent has 4 cards in hand, we are able to Iono them, but let's go with Umbreon VMAX here. And let's bring up a Pokemon that they might not be able to bring up, like, they might not be able to do a whole bunch with. Actually, what I think I like this one, because they can't do too much damage. And then we're just going to go for Iono here. This puts our opponent down to 1, puts us at 4. So that's fine. We don't want to knock out the active Pokemon. What we want to be doing is just go for Mean Look. Mean Look allows us to put 3 damage or 30 on our active, and then we can move on to our opponent's active, and then we could go Radiant Alakazam. If they don't have enough energies, they can't use Buster Tail. So they might just have to go pass here. So the other thing that we can do now is go Painful Spoons. I'm not worried if they play like Lumineon or something like that because we have a Spiritomb in play. So I'm just going to try to take the 2 prize cards while healing off from the Baxcalibur. The Hawlucha boss's order is actually sick for us. Because we could just bring up something else. Let's go for Mean Look again. And hopefully our opponent just goes past. You can take some extra turns back with this play. So even though the game was like weird for us at the beginning, we'll see. Their Pokestop might be very good for them. Like, our opponent's drawing some insane cards here. Maybe they'll power up all their energies on Baxcalibur so they could hit us with Buster Tail. This would be another point in which we would bring up a different Pokemon. I'm not sure why they'd be playing Canceling Cologne. They could have discarded that from their hands. I mean, those are also fine cards to discard from their hands. So there's their 4 energies. So let's see, Super Cold. They're going to put 3 energies onto their active. Wait, what? Yeah. Okay, so they win the game. Nothing that we could do here. We tried our best. A little bit of an unfortunate game, but it is what it is. Nothing that we could have done. So as much as I like showing the winning games, and I usually like to show a winning game per video, I think we showed off how this deck plays out against a lot of decks where we got Arceus out, we got out our Pokemon using Gust, we got our Pokemon doing damage, we accelerated energies, we Starbirthed for the correct cards, we were able to go for Radiant Alakazam, we were able to go for a lot of things in general. Now, was it a struggle against the matchup against Chien-Pao? Yes, this deck does not beat Chien-Pao, but it does do quite good against Lost Zone Box, Gardevoir, Lugia, and those are a lot of the big decks in the format, or at least we're big in the format around NEIC. So it's one of those things that as we kind of look through the formats, is this deck well positioned? In a field of Chien-Pao, no, it's not well positioned. But against other fields that we might see at the World Championships coming up, it might be well positioned. So hopefully you learned a thing or two from this video. I mean, you can even learn from losses too, so keep that in mind. And I hope that you enjoyed watching. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think about Arctura Umbreon. Catch up with all y'all real soon. Peace out and have a great one. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.